Hello, Arty Peoples, and welcome to another episode of Jerry's Live. My name is Emmy Klein, and I'm your host this evening. And as you can see, we have Jimmy Leslie in the studio today.
Thanks for those hands.
Yeah, you got a jazz hand,
everybody,
you know?
Thank you.
So everybody, please welcome Jimmy Leslie to the studio. We're very excited to have you here, and excited to have a show on all the fun things that you've planned. But before we officially jump into it, I want to remind you all that if you are interested in anything that Jimmy and I are going to be using on the show, or anything that you're going to be going over, make sure you go to the website JerrysArtarama.com and type in today's class code, which is JL403. So if you type that into the search bar, JL403, the teacher's cart will come up, and then you'll be able to check out all the supplies there. And without further ado, what are we talking about? What are we going over today?
We're talking about Conté Opry drawing materials, and the thing about this is I think when you talk about drawing, now I'm a painter.
Yeah,
You're right, painter, right? And so if somebody was to, like, let's say, follow me on social media, they would see that most of my work is finished paintings. There's not a lot of drawings that I do as finished work, but drawing is this fundamental. Now, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but as usual, I think we have a lot of levels of people watching.
Everything from professionals to hobbyists to anybody who doesn't actually draw. Like, we got everybody. The whole
gamut. Yeah.
Yes, the whole gamut.
Okay, so when you speak to this whole group of people about drawing, so if you're out there and you're a beginner, a novice, whatever word you want to stick to that, I think a lot of times people, if I went to school for art specifically. Same. Okay, yes. You're in that boat.
We got the education with the people that know the things. And we were super lucky for that happening.
Right.
So this is your education.
Yes.
From people who've gotten it.
Yeah, well put.
Paid for it.
And so for those of you who've gone this route where you're like, I always wanted to do something with art, and then they jump into painting right away, that's fine. That's fine.
It's fantastic.
But drawing always becomes part of it. It becomes your preparatory studies. It can become, and this is the other way I always explain drawing too. So I want you to think about making a painting for a moment, and you put down a swatch of color. You put down another swatch of color next to that.
Yes.
You're drawing.
Yeah.
Now, if that's confusing to you, if I make this dark blue of my shirt and I've got the more grayish blue of Emmy's shirt next to each other, you would typically draw a line there to delineate the two of us, but you're doing that with paint.
Yes.
And I find that I have kind of two different approaches to painting. I will sometimes sketch out my design, and then I start to build color on top.
Okay.
I will also just go straight in with color to begin with in big fields or areas, and then I'll say where do I need to delineate this a little bit more.
Yeah.
So there's going to be more about that because I want to talk technique, but we're talking about Conté Opry or Conté in Paris drawing materials. So we're going to do a little time travel.
Okay.
You give me a little time travel sound. Okay, that's exactly what I thought you were going to do.
You're welcome.
That's what I thought you were going to do.
I feel like that's going to be the snippet that they pull for the short.
You didn't disappoint. All right, so we go back to the year 1795.
Oh man, that's a good year.
Was it?
Good year.
Okay, that goes back to the time when Conté is founded by Nicolas Conté. Okay. And one of the things that he does is, with some Conté products, you'll see the word crayon. And we think here in North America, especially in the States, we think of crayons as like Crayola, right?
Waxy,
thing right?
That
exactly
kids play with, essentially.
Precisely. But crayon simply means pencil.
Oh.
And what Nicolas Conté did, what was really interesting with him, is he figured out if you added clay to the graphite, then you could make different hardnesses or softnesses. Is that right?
That makes sense,
of the graphite. Yeah. So when we start to look at any one of these products, and this is why I brought my glasses with me tonight, we open this up, and I know you can't see on camera.
Because of that overhead view, we can probably get close up once we...
Well, I don't know that you're going to still pick up on here, but this is...
it's really light. Actually, this
really
one,
tiny.
You might be able to...
That we can see Conté Opry, but here this is an HB. So when I put this down, and this one is called, these squares are called carré.
Okay.
Because that is the French word for squares.
Oh.
So that's where this comes from, that you've got these squares. So you can take an edge, you can get a really fine line, you can do that,
which I do for all of mine.
Right? Get a really broad mark,
pastels.
which is kind of fun because
you can get some really fun gestural marks with that.
Right,
Ooh,
ribbon,
love that.
ribbon-like forms like that. And so here's the thing, I'm gonna have to keep taking these on and off here, Emmy.
No worries.
Here's the thing, what happened then is when you look at like pencils or different carrés like this, and you have these different designations, you're gonna have the H for hardness, the B for either boldness or blackness. So for all of you who might not know, and forgive me if you do, if we take an H, then we go to a 2H, a 4H, a 6H, and those
the higher the number,
the harder that is, right?
Yes.
And so these are going to be the things that are great for architectural drawings.
Yes.
Like if I was using a pencil, I probably, not that you couldn't, but I probably wouldn't use something like this compressed stick for making a drawing for a watercolor.
Okay.
Because that's going to
doesn't-
smudge.
Yeah, and it also is really dark, and especially with like watercolors, you want to work light to dark and
Right.
be a whole thing.
You want
I
that
feel like
beauty
would
of
be-
the lightness of the page
Yeah.
coming through. But you're going to use those, like I think a lot of people probably remember in grade school, you had the classic 2H pencil. And if you were somebody like me, and I think you were, who wasn't paying attention to class when you should have been, and you were drawing in your notebook.
Maybe.
Yeah, if you wanted to make something darker, you pressed harder with that 2H, and then what did it look like?
An indentation.
Shiny.
Oh, and it would be shiny, yeah.
It would be really shiny.
Yeah.
So had we had a series of pencils or charcoals that were different hardnesses and some were softer, we could have made it darker without pushing so hard.
Okay.
So that's why you would want different ranges along the way.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, but we're gonna go. You don't have to make the sound again, but we're gonna go further back in. You can make the you can make that movement. We're gonna go further back in time because this is where I'm going to geek out a little bit with everybody, and then I'm going to do some drawing for you.
Okay.
Go back to the first images that we see in caves, and we go back to a place called Caceres, Spain. We go back about 64,000 years ago. Now, this absolutely 100% blows my mind. And the reason it does, and if it doesn't, if you're watching this right now and you're thinking, Jimmy, that don't really blow my mind, think about this for a second. Some of the things that I have right here, so I've got this carré, which is made from carbon.
Yes.
That's
We
what
are
we're
also
made from.
Carbon-based
Carbon-based life forms.
things.
And I'm reminded of one of my favorite scientists and favorite humans, Carl Sagan, and he said, we are made of star stuff.
I love it.
We are. So, some of the things you found back in Caceres, Spain, 64,000 years ago, is carbon like this. And you'll also see, this is what we would call, we'll get into this more in a little bit, this color is what we call sanguine. So sanguine,
It's like that
blood.
instant, like, orangey brown that I love.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But it gets its name, it's blood. It comes from a natural iron oxide like hematite.
Okay.
And if you listen to that word hematite, hemoglobin, hematoma, if you get hit with some blood.
Yeah.
Blood's forming this. So this is where you get the name, hema. Yeah,
Okay.
you get that root. And I love the origins of words. So we've got these beautiful sanguine colors there. Sanguine can also mean like super sweet and saccharine as well. But color-wise, we get this.
Yeah.
And in Caceres, Spain, again, 64,000 years ago, what you saw is a color similar to this, where people made hand stencils.
And like the little, like, was it the bulls or?
Yeah.
That the animals that they would see,
Yeah.
they would also draw that on the
Yeah.
caves.
So I think of these hand stencils, basically what these Neanderthals, or if you want to be that person at a party who corrects people and say Neanderthal is the correct pronunciation, you can do that. It's not going to make you a good party guest at all. We're just going to say Neanderthal right here.
Yeah.
What they would do is what's believed they would do is take a pigment like this. So if we took a lot of this, and I really do that, you can see some of that just kind of, if I do that
it
hard,
has
just
some-
kicking out to the side.
Some dust.
Yeah, it's got some dust there. And they believe what they would do is they would mix it with some, it might be some animal fat, and they would also blow it through onto their hands so it would leave a stencil, which I kind of think is the super, super old version of when we were in grade school. And we made the turkey hands. But basically what you had is you had this, but it was all it was all spread out like this.
It's like the world's first spray paint.
Oh my gosh, right.
With the turkey hand.
Right,
combination.
right. And
I love it.
We don't know why these people did this. We have no idea. I like to think that the hand was like, I was here.
Yeah.
I like to think, I don't know. It could be something else.
Jimmy was here.
Yeah, yeah. It could be something else, almost like graffiti. We don't know.
Yeah.
But that's wild. And then if we go to a little bit earlier, we come to like 46,000 or 43,000 years ago, a place called South Sulawesi in Indonesia. That's where we get some of the first images of animals. We get images of pigs being hunted. And so again, you're going to see the carbon. You're going to see stuff like this sanguine. You're going to see some other, this is what we would call bistre, would be the color. Now, my French colleague, Michelle, would probably correct me on that French pronunciation.
My French pronunciation is terrible, so I'm not going to try.
Pardon me, anybody who knows French out there, but it's basically this brown color. Ooh. So think of, again, like iron oxides, like things that you're all familiar with out there, umbers. Yeah. Burnt umber, raw umber, siennas, burnt and raw sienna, and so on. You're going to see these three things in those cave drawings, and that is amazing. That's what we have right here. It's amazing.
Same stuff.
Yeah, I love the concept too that we had a desire to make marks.
Yes.
Again, we don't know why. We don't know what that was for. But we had a desire to do it.
A love of art.
We had a love of art. We had some sort of means to want to do that. So, okay, so we look at all this, and we're going to open some of these kits here. So what we have in here, we've got different versions of the sanguine, different colors. We got the bistre again. We've got a white, a gray, and then different hardnesses of this carbon black. Okay. So one of the things that that you'll see in some drawings, and I have a few things here to show everybody that I brought with me, some little kind of show and tell before I do some drawing. Now, Michelangelo.
Love.
Yeah,
love
right.
The work.
We all know Michelangelo.
Yes.
This is an anatomy drawing by Michelangelo. So you would see here, we have what's called, your traditional sanguine.
And again, you're going back to, somebody who is a painter.
Yeah.
And this is such a core requirement for us to even just work through painting sometimes, just to figure out what we're painting is to do those basic drawings.
Yeah.
And these are incredible that he's using the same stuff.
Same stuff. So, and here's, if you permit me a little, because I figure everybody watching this is geeky enough to want some art history.
I hope so.
Okay.
Love it.
I hope so. I hope so too. Back, because I'm way older than you, back when I was in college, there was a book, it was called Jansen's Art History, and it was this massive volume. It was this big. 1 and 2 was like this big if you put them both together.
That's awesome.
And they showed pictures of Michelangelo's Sistine ceiling. And it was before it had been restored, which was in the later 90s, I want to say. And they actually wrote in there that it looked dark. And we know it to be very colorful now. If you've ever seen it, or even images of it, or if you're lucky enough to have been to the Sistine Chapel and seen the ceiling, it's quite beautiful. It's quite bold. But it didn't look like that because years and years of services in there, masses and candles and everything else had darkened it over time.
Yeah.
So they wrote that he painted this like this because he was really a sculptor. And then they come to find out when they clean it, oh no, it was just dirty. It's just dirty. He was really bold. Yeah, he was really quite bold. So we have this sanguine color, right? And during this time period, we have this other one called Medici or Medici, however you want to say that. The Medicis were a banking family. They were a political family. There were popes among them. They were a ruling class. Okay, so this is 1500s, really like 15th century through 17th century. They were ruling party. And they fostered a great deal of the arts. So we call this the Medici or the Medici sanguine in their honor too. And you would have these different colors based on different deposits that you would get. Yeah, things
it's
like
all
that.
naturally occurring materials, but it's like depending on where it's found in like the earth, essentially.
100%.
Very cool.
100%.
And so like that's just a little bit more yellow. This has a little bit more of that like dark blood
Yeah,
red almost.
yeah, for sure. And then you've got, what else we got? We've got this one. Another person here, I've got Tiepolo. In the 1700s, really known for a huge amount of use of sanguine. And we'll do a portrait in a little bit here for all you guys, and I'll talk technique and portraiture a little bit. But he was known to do that. And we've got the Watteau color too, because another artist was known to be Watteau, and he would use it. And there was a technique called, and again, pardon the French here, but it was either called trois crayons or trois couleurs, 3 colors.
Okay.
Right, 3 colors.
Yeah.
And the 3 colors.
I can see it. You have the sanguine.
Yep.
The black, the carbon.
Yep.
And then you have the white.
Yeah.
Coming in as the highlight.
So let's do this. I got obviously much more to talk to you guys about the materials, but let's do a little drawing first.
Yeah.
All right, it's going to be dealer's choice. You pick a page out of here because this is a Winsor Newton pastel pad. So it's got
6 earth colors.
Yeah, 6 earth colors. It's got a bit of tooth to it, so it can grab some of these softer materials. So you pick a
nice creamy kind of color.
Oh,
lovely.
you're shot.
Chocolatey brown.
Yeah.
Ooh, this one's a nice, almost similar more to like a mustard yellow that mixed with the brown.
Yep.
And then we have another more yellow, creamy kind of color.
All right, what are we going with?
And then white.
Not
you know
going
what?
with white.
Not gonna go with white.
No.
I think I like this first kind of creamy color because I like the idea of a toned.
Oh, don't tear it out.
Oh.
No, that's okay. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Too late. But luckily, there are 3 sheets of each.
It's like, why? So. Yeah, all right, let's put this here. And let's talk about this trois crayons.
I like the toned background, and I like the idea that it's lighter than the sanguine, but it's still darker than the white. So I feel like you can use both.
Yeah, so tone ground can be really great for you guys in a few ways. If you're working with drawing and you're getting into some of these colors with these carrés, remember carrés, just square, or let's say pastel pencils, which we're going to take a look at. Let's show them. Yeah. Right, pastel pencils. We'll play with those a bit. Or if you want to open that one, this is a landscape set, so it's got a lot of blues, greens, browns, earth colors, right? But if you're getting into those, the toned ground can be really nice because it does some of the work for you. It sets up this is maybe not quite a middle tone. It's a little bit light for that, but it still gives you kind of that starting point. So let's just say, what are we doing here? Let's just, okay, so first thing, I don't know if you do this, Emmy, but for all you out there, I tend to do this kind of thing before I make a mark. It's almost like muscle memory, and I love baseball, so I always think of like a baseball player who they stand off in the on deck circle, and they're waiting, and they take swings, and it's almost like they're getting ready for the action that they're then gonna do. So here I'm kind of like, I think I want to draw this head. So what's the shape of that? And then I start to lay down this very kind of gestural image. And which way is this going to look? Up, down, right, left? You call.
That way.
This way. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to kind of make an axis this way. Okay, so we've got eye over here, over here. We're going to have, let's say, nose somewhere right around there. We're going to have mouth in here, let's say roughly. Cheekbone is going to do something like that. There's a prominence of the chin. What else? We need an ear in here, and just a little bit of knowledge here. I know we're not necessarily here to do a portrait demo, but I'm doing this, but just for all of you who are watching. Generally speaking, if you're looking at me straight on, and sorry, I'm not doing that because you're showing me I'm not being a wise guy. But if you're looking at me straight on like this, so if you're doing that, you'll probably notice my ears are lining up with my eyebrows roughly.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Bottom lining up with my nose roughly. Bottom of my nose roughly. Now, when you start to look at somebody, 2 things can happen. Now, if all of a sudden I drop my chin, and now you still take a line straight from my ears, they're way up here.
Yeah.
Right? They're not lining up with the eyebrow anymore. And if you do the bottom,
it's at a totally different plane.
Totally different plane. Yeah. So this is just kind of working that out. And then I think about the eyes. I think about them as these orbs first. And then maybe I'll come in here like this. you know, whatever they're doing. We can have them do all sorts of things, and we'll just get a rough idea of the neck and torso, something
just
like that.
There's a whole face on that paper.
Yeah, something like that, right? So now what we'll do, let's also say, let's say light source here and something like this, that maybe it's coming from the top corner like this. Okay, so now this is where I can take this, and I already broke off a little piece. I don't know where it went, but...
Right there.
Oh, there it is. That's a little bit better one. So I'm just going to kind of look at this. I'm even going to break it a little bit smaller because I can and I have more. And I'm going to say, okay, we're going to have like a shadow over here. Now I can kind of just get rough ideas of where these shadows are in space. And if I want, I can obviously use my fingers here, but this is what we call a drawing stump. So for some people, it might be easier to take that drawing stump and you can kind of really get those tones to kind of relax a little bit there.
Yeah, soften it.
Soften it. Yeah, soften it.
Which, in case anybody ever is like, well, why would I use that when I, you know, have a... This does keep the oils from your fingers. Like if you just put like lotion on your hands, this is something you would probably want to do just to keep the oils from getting on your paper. Because then you're kind of working against that with the Conté. Or if you just really don't like the touching of the Conté, like if you don't want that on your hands, this is a great option.
And also,
it does keep you from getting dirty.
But also, these are the only sizes I have.
Yes.
Like the pinky is the tiniest, the thumb's the biggest one. I can't get down to this little point. And we can peel the paper off if we want. We can also take what's already on there. And
use it as like a lighter kind of...
as a lighter tone, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we can do that. We can also kind of come back in if we want with our kneaded eraser.
Which is also my favorite way of cleaning my fingers off when I get the
can.
Conté and charcoal all over myself.
Well, you know, okay, so you know why I love a kneaded eraser? So I've been doing a lot of watercolor lately. And so I'll sketch out with a pencil.
Yeah.
I'll start to lay my washes over, and sometimes I don't... I'll draw very light, so the drawing isn't super apparent when I start to layer. But sometimes there are some marks I want to get rid of, and I don't want to smudge it. Okay. So I'll make sure this is clean, and what I'll do is I'll just do... I'll do a yeah. You can see I took a line right off there. I knocked that. You
guys want to see? That's right where you touch that line.
Yeah, and we can get rid of that, and we'll just kind of illustrate it one more time. Get this nice and...
For anybody out there who doesn't know, a kneaded eraser cleans as you need it.
Yep. You just kind of push it around.
Like dough.
And let's say this eye I feel like is too dark. Just press that.
And kind of just lightens it a bit.
It's almost like look at that. I've got right. It's almost like Play-Doh.
Yeah.
Right? Or anything like that. When you were a kid and you could press that on.
Silly putty.
Silly putty, that's what I wanted to say. Silly putty.
Newspaper.
Yes, yes. So now there's really young kids who are like, what's a newspaper?
What's a silly putty?
What's silly putty?
I know,
what's
a
that?
newspaper.
Yeah. So anyway, we can keep going with some of these things, right? And we can darken and so on. But what we can also do is take some of that sanguine.
So when would you decide to introduce the sanguine? Like, is there a point where you would be like, this is the time?
Yeah, I think if I got some of these big concepts down of these shadows and I built them more and more, I could come back in and I could look at certain places. Like I have very fair skin, so certainly if I get heated up or if I get cold, you notice it more. You notice it more on our cheeks, nose, ears a lot too, and you can see when we look back at Watteau, what's he really doing? He's picking up the hands, right? Where it's like, you know when you place your hand over a light and you see all that light coming through and it's like it just sets it on fire.
Yeah,
or
makes it really orange and kind of almost...
I'm going to get this all over me, but whatever.
Yep. On the ears.
Yeah, the cartilage of the ears.
The thin areas, yeah.
It's like it's on fire. And so he's picking up the warmth of there around the nipples, a little bit around the, just a touch around the stomach, and then around the face here.
And also on like the shoulder.
Yeah.
Like it's just sun-kissed.
Yeah, a little bit of accent there. Yeah. So it's given it like a little sense of life. So I could kind of lay all of this in here. Let's just say I do that for a second. Yeah. And I'm just going to make the nose. Now this is going to look a little, it's going to look a little Rudolph-like at first. Clown. We're getting into Christmas soon. But I'm going to do that because then I'm going to take my kneaded eraser and I'm going to kind of pick out of there. And the nice thing about the kneaded eraser, again, you can kind of make it pencil point-ish if you want.
You can squish it to whatever size tool you need.
Yeah.
Now, while you're doing that, I know we do have a question.
Oh, good. Yeah, shoot.
Yes, on YouTube, we were wondering if your kneaded eraser will dry out over time. Or...
I would say a long time, probably. Yeah, I would say a long time if it's sitting out, sure, but it's not like it's a, I would say more than anything rather than dry out, because you know how like a rubber band can dry out over time and they get dry, like a dry
It's a little brittle.
Get a little brittle. It can over time, but I couldn't put a number on it. It's not like...
Yeah, no, I've had the same kneaded eraser on my desk, I think, for like a year and a half now.
Yeah.
The only thing I've ever noticed is that it gets cold. Like, if you have it, like, in the studio here, you know, might get colder during the winter, and like the second you pick it up, it is hard as rock.
Less
you hold
pliable.
it in your hand, hold it in your hand, get your body heat into it, and it kind of becomes more pliable. And the more you like knead it, the more friction. Yeah. And then it becomes more pliable. But that's the only thing I've ever noticed.
I would say the other thing is really just that there's kind of, if you're using it a ton, there's a point of no return where you just can't.
You've introduced too much drawing material into it, and it's picked it up, and you've kneaded it into that, and it just is.
But if you have one, it's not like you know, we could say like, oh yeah, every 2 months you need a new one. No, they last a long time.
Yeah, I don't think I've replaced a kneaded eraser. I
dropped one at the bottom of my purse and not wanted to ever pick it up again.
Yes. Now if you end up putting it into like the bottom of an art bag or something, and it just gets squished into the fibers of that is.
It collects everything that else
It
goes
does.
Sure.
It does. It's like a magnet for dirt and dust and things that are just in your bag, but.
I've never had one go bad.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So and if there's any other questions, yes, please throw them our way. And I'm going to take that same piece of, you know, carbon there, this dark carré, and I'm just gonna like get that head to pop out. And this is the thing. Okay, this is like what I was talking about with painting, right? So really, you can see I'm very loose when I start something like this. I think the motto, or motto the right thing, I think motto's the right word, that I've always said to students, especially back when I was a college professor, I always said, work general to specific. Get big ideas down and then refine over time. So, yeah, there's a smudge outside the edge of the neck there. It's not really defined, but I'm coming in this, and then I can start to define that. And so really what I've done is I've made a line.
And you've like carved it back out.
I've carved it back out. And in a way, it's almost very sculptural too. Right? So drawing, painting, sculpture.
It's the same exact thing that I do in painting.
Yes, totally.
It's a lovely way to like practice all of this. And honestly, these are my absolute favorite things to take when I go to live figure drawing. Like if you guys have the opportunity to go to an art facility, wherever you may be, whether it's, you know, like from the, here in Raleigh, we have the Pullen Arts Center, which is like a government ran art center that is amazing. And they have figure drawing where you can just go, if you're a member, and just sit and draw a live person for a couple hours, which is wonderful. And these are really wonderful tools to take with you when you go there, because it does give you a full range of, you have the white for the highlights, you have the ability to mix that in and get some variation, you have the sanguine to kind of warm that face up, and then the dark to kind of carve out those shadow shapes, which it brings me so much joy.
Yeah, no, it does. and I think if you're doing something like you just suggested, and I think that's a great thing, like here's one of the things about drawing. I, as you know, and I've been on this show talking about sketchbooks, I draw in my sketchbook all the time. It's in this bag that's off camera here.
Always in a sketchbook.
Always with me.
Always.
Because I can always find time to draw. I especially use little sketchbooks. I can always find time to draw. And these are broad materials that really keep things very loose. And we'll still use some of these, but let's just shift gears for a second. I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to come to just going to kind of do what we do in a regular studio, and we start just kind of making a mess with our materials and chucking them about.
Yes.
And I'm going to take this sketchbook here.
Ooh.
And I'm just going to do this. So let's just say, once again, I'm just kind of rubbing all that into my hands here. And I'm going to pick this up again. This time I'll actually take the sanguine. I'll take one of those. And like Michelangelo, he's got his leg there. And let's just think about a figure here for a moment. So one of the things we say with drawing is we might use the term gesture drawing, right? Gesture drawing. Yes. So we're trying to get a big concept. So when we are making...
to detailed.
Exactly. So when we're making a gesture of somebody, I'm thinking about big shapes. Now this might look like the same thing I just did with the head, but in this case it's not. In this case, I'm thinking about rib cage.
It's a torso.
It's a torso, and now I'm thinking about this head coming up here, down into here. I'm not sure what's going on with the arms yet. Spine would come down like this, and the pelvis. I'm just thinking of basic shapes. Would be sort of like a box-like shape, like this, tilting back in space. And so this is where we get the curve of a form like that. And let's just say, I don't know, this leg, which we can think of as a cylindrical form, is coming down something like that, I guess. And then, you know, because I'm making this up all as I do it, maybe this is striding, you know, back, something like that. I'm not sure what else is going on back there. The calf would be higher or something like that. And then we'd fill in here the abdomen. We can cut that down. I don't know. Something else is happening with that arm. I don't know. Maybe this is doing this, and I don't know. This is somebody with purpose who's really like.
I love it.
You know, like.
I think we're all just sitting there going, "You just made this up."
Yeah, but here's the thing about this. The reason this is a gestural drawing right now. It's neither male nor female. We don't know the age of this person. We know nothing about them. It is a form. So it's like when you first start taking drawing classes, people come across the term contrapposto. So contrapposto is like, I'm standing here on both legs equally, and like I imagine I'm in a line somewhere at a store, and it's like the holidays are coming up soon, right? So I'm either doing my Hanukkah or Christmas shopping or whatever it is, and it's taking a long time, and then we shift over to one side.
You pop a hip out.
Yeah, you pop a hip out. You just really can be sassy if you want it to be, right?
Yes, always with the sass.
You pop a hip out.
Especially when holiday shopping.
Yes. So when you do that, you have to counterbalance your body. Otherwise, if I do that, I just start to go over.
Yeah.
So I'm throwing that hip out, and the rest of the body is counterbalancing like that, right? So you get this kind of movement.
Like everybody behind the camera, like everybody watching just went.
It's just to throw the right, but these are gestures, and the way the goofy, silly way I always explain it
for sure.
is and I just talked about this recently. Is you're driving down the road, you inadvertently cut somebody off, they give you a gesture. I don't know about here in North Carolina and New Jersey.
Big thumbs up.
Oh, it's a big thumbs up.
Good job, buddy.
That's not the finger, but yes, but it's in New Jersey. It's sort of like they call it the Jersey salute. That's a gesture. Somebody is telling you, but a thumbs up even is like, hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. It's not nuanced.
Sometimes it's sarcastic also.
But it's not nuanced. And that's what this is here. This isn't nuanced. It's big concepts and ideas. And then we can build on that framework.
And that's we can all see that that's a human being. Like I feel like we're all very tuned to see like the gesture of a body.
Yeah.
And we can all pick out what this is, even though that's definitely not a head. There's a stick holding that whole thing up. But we can tell that is a form with a head and like what they're doing.
And if we're drawing like that, we could if we take that again, we could see that head in a few different ways. First of all, we could do what I was doing before the portrait. We could think of the head as this oval and these axes looking maybe this way or something like that. We can also, if our minds work more in an angular way, we could see the head like this.
It's more of like a boxy.
Yeah, more of a boxy.
And both are so valid. Neither are more correct than the other. It's just how you draw as a person.
Yeah. How
and I've seen so many different ways of people doing gesture drawings, and it's all as long as you are practicing getting that form, especially like when it's live and in front of you. I feel like it's amazing, but using these as a tool is just so useful because it's so intuitive just to be able to like sketch.
Okay.
And then have that kneaded eraser just to pick up some areas.
I like that you said that it's intuitive because I think when you're drawing too, one of the most intimate things is that it is this extension of your right. You don't even have the paintbrush which is removed a bit. I know it's still, we're like, oh, we're painting, we're right in the canvas or the panel or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is a very intimate thing. So off camera, before we started, I showed this to Emmy. So I'm gonna pull this into the screen here, and I'm gonna take these.
I'm so glad you got to this.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I want to talk about intimate here for a moment. Yes. These are Michelangelo drawings. Obviously, they're photographs. Now, I took these a long time ago. I think you can tell because
they're actually printed photographs.
Printed photos, and they're actually, you know, in the old thing that used to have like an adhesive in there. These are Michelangelo drawings.
And I wonder, actually, is it gonna be? Could we hold those up, or
yeah,
is it
of course.
be
No.
We can on the side camera. I don't. It might be able to.
I can do that.
But yeah, here, let's see if we can hold that onto the side camera here.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
There
we can manage the glare there. Yeah, that's it. Almost looks really like postcard size here. So Michelangelo, if you are fortunate enough to ever to go to Florence, Italy, there is the Medici Chapel, or Medici, however you want to say it. And in it, Michelangelo was making these, the tomb of Lorenzo de Medici, and here's a portrait head. Here's actually, we can peel this off here too. Yeah. Oh, maybe it won't peel off. It's so old.
It's been a minute. There we go.
So this little cavern or chamber is beneath the chapel, and back in the 90s, it's very dark, but I got to go in there, and he drew right on the walls. And when I look at that little chapel, if I put my hands up, I could practically touch the ceiling and practically touch the sides of it. That's how tiny it was. And during the summer, back in the 1500s, he was drawing right on there with charcoal. And you want to talk about intimacy, being able to sit in front of that, be able to sit in front of that and see him working with these same kind of materials.
That's incredible.
It really gave me chills, and still thinking about it.
And for anybody out there watching, is it still possible to go down and see that?
Yes, you can do that. It was really kind of a, no pun intended with what we're doing here, but it was kind of sketchy to go do it back then. And I got very lucky to do it. I really was. I did not plan saying that. But yeah, I got to be really lucky to
make your appointments
to do that.
in advance.
Yeah, Florence, Italy, Medici Chapel, right in the middle of Florence, right near the Duomo. It's beautiful.
So cool.
Stunning place. So let's talk a little bit more about using these materials. And I think, because I'm looking at our time here, we're going to break out some color here, all right?
I'm here for
so
this.
We've got pastel pencils.
Okay.
And we've got the carrés right here as well. So this might be something where you like having that pencil feel in your hand, and you like that control. I understand liking the control, but I give you a huge warning with that.
What's that?
Here's the thing. I think a lot of times, and this is just back my experience of my days, let's take a darker color. Back in my days when I was a college professor, you give somebody a tool like this, and what they started doing is they inch up to right here.
Oh yeah, you hear. If you pull your hand a little further.
Oh, yeah, right?
You see? I call that choking up.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah, absolutely, like a baseball player choking up.
All the way to the very end of the pencil.
Yeah,
and you noodle.
And here's the thing, you need this control if I'm signing my name, right? You need that, although it doesn't look like I had any control there at all. But you need that control to do that. But that is kind of the opposite of what we're talking about with gesture drawing, which is big concepts and big ideas.
And see how your hand just changed.
Yeah. You
went to the very back of the pencil.
And holding it between my forefinger and my thumb, and look at that immediately. Like, I didn't put pressure there. It was just that I naturally, when you're holding it like that, you're making it darker. Here, it's a very loose, like, I can make this almost imperceptible. To where it's like almost hard to pick up.
Camera.
Right? It's barely even showing up there. So let's flip this page, and we'll use a reference photo this time.
Okay.
And actually, one other thing I'm going to show you, since I have it here before we get to the color.
I love it.
Yeah, this is using these very tools, except really taking something like this compressed piece. I'm going to actually move this off to the side. This is
don't want to ruin
this
it.
is my this is just I only found this recently when I moved my studio. This was never framed. This was my son when he was born in 1998. How is that possible? I'm going to take this
that incredible piece.
I'm going to take some
So good.
sandpaper. I was like, what is that thing I have in my hand? It's called sandpaper. Everybody has that. And I can, this is a very fine grit. I would take a harder grit, but you can get down to really fine points with that. And you could also take something like the black pastel pencil, or if you just wanted to use graphite. This was charcoal pencil though.
Okay.
And you can get really, really delicate with that.
I feel like if you guys actually, let me hold this up.
Yeah, look how delicate.
You can see if it'll focus. There we go.
You see how gestural
tiny,
it is.
It is very gestural, but like even those like tiny little marks.
Yeah.
It's not. You're not like sitting there like just very specifically shading. Like you're all over it, moving your hand around. It's got energy and motion. And movement to it, even though you are still using a pencil. Yeah,
and here we have, this has been in an old portfolio for a long time, so it really almost just looks like the white of the paper, or the gray of the paper, but there was some white in there that's just got smudged, and it's on this gray ground here, so it's a nice kind of middle tone there. But you especially see with something like her hair, and my wife's hair there, very, very, and I love drawing hair because you can be really loose and gestural, because you'll pardon me here because I don't have any hair, but you can do that and that's not weird, right? Like that, like it could do that and you can move it any way. I don't have as much, you know.
I mean, you can be really gestural.
It is, it is what it is, right? So, all right, so let's go back here and I'm gonna, if you'll flip that page, actually, no, let's do this. Let's take another one, but maybe you find a middle gray in that other, we've got that other pad there.
Well, I'm going to take it out of the pad.
Yeah, fine, take it out of the pad. I won't yell at you this time.
All right, do we want, I'm gonna let you guys pick. Do we want this gray or do we want a warmer gray?
Oh, it's almost like more like a brown gray.
Kind of.
I'm good with either or.
What do you guys want?
Go the first gray. Now I want the first one. Yeah, I want the first one now.
Luckily, Michaela agreed with you, so you got it.
I don't know why I was leaving any choice to it. I wanted that one to begin with. Okay, so this guy here.
Jerry's live. Sometimes you don't get what you want.
It's not like the Rolling Stones. All right, so this here, this is a guy named Nick. I don't know if Nick's watching tonight. If he is, he might be like, wow, how did I end up in here? Because he doesn't know I have this. Well, I mean, he does know I have this reference photo, but not here specifically for this. He's a former student of mine back when I was a college professor. So I'm going to grab our pastel pencils here. I'm going to take the black, and we're going to do just what we did. And I'm going to kind of get this rough idea of the shape of his head. And I'm also at the same time, he's got this beard that really is just this kind of its own entity and orbit. And I'm just going to kind of bring that in and get big ideas here of where this is in space. And again, I'm being very gestural to begin with. I can always come back in. Now you'll notice his head is sort of tilted back a little bit, so that the ears don't if we actually draw on the photo. And I would recommend, if you're ever, it doesn't have to be a portrait, because some of you might be intimidated by portraits. I totally get that. Here's something I want to make sure before I go further with this. If you are somebody that's intimidated by portraits, if it's something you feel like you can't do and you want to do, well, there's a lot of resources and you can practice that. And there's also old Jerry's Live episodes of doing just that. So call back to that. But you don't have to feel like, if I can't draw portraits, then I'm not good at making art. Yeah. You do what you want to do.
Yeah. If you want to draw like apples every day, cats.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Actually, I think we were talking about this off air too. I think drawing cats or just pets in general is a great thing because they often don't stay still. No. So they are the ultimate gesture drawing. Really.
And we're talking about drawing from life, not
drawing from life. Yeah. So right now, I'm just going to kind of get this rounded shape of his nose. And I'm going to notice, if I take a line across from that it's like the middle of his ear, right? Because his head's tilted back this way a little bit. So that helps give me a little bit of a frame of reference for where the ears are going to go. And then I can come right across from there.
Because if you are straight on without any tilt whatsoever, the top of your ears should line up to about your eyebrows, and the bottom about the bottom of your nose. Granted, every human comes in different shapes, and sometimes it's not perfect, and that's okay. But this is a really lovely way. I like that you can draw on a photograph. Like, it's just a printout, draw on it with the pencil, and you can check those proportions.
I'm going to take a little sidebar here, and then we'll continue with this. But it would be the same thing if you were doing something like this.
Yeah.
And we'll based on our time, we got about 15 minutes left. So I'll try to draw fast. But if you're doing something like this too, it's the same kind of thing. You can draw on here and actually look and say, well, what am I really dealing with here? This is kind of waxy, this one, so it would probably be better to draw with something more chalky like this.
Yeah.
This is like a really triangular shape that I have here. So I try to think about this very organic form like a flower and go, well, what is it in terms that I know that I can grasp and make sense of? So yeah, drawing on an image is great. Also, just kind of doing, I think, a basic thing. You know, sometimes people learn in art classes that they'll grid out a whole reference photo. There's nothing wrong with doing that if you're comfortable doing that. I never was, simply because it got too segmented and too rigid for me. For me, what I would normally do, and I still do it sometimes, it's like a Union Jack. I'll do an X and then boom through it. So basically be like a Union Jack flag. And then that gives me some sort of basis and it gives me guidelines, but it's not so like box for box for box.
It's a general.
It's very general.
Shape.
It's very general. Okay, so back to this. My advice to people, if you were working on a portrait and you're using these pastel pencils or any one of these other tools, is the first thing that I do is I don't try to make it look like this person. And you might think to yourself, well, that doesn't seem like a great approach for making a portrait. And I 100% get why you'd say that. But here's the thing. I want to first make a good drawing, a good image, so that no matter what, and already this is starting to look like a person. I think what is really hard for beginners when they're drawing is that, and if they go into tackling the subject of a portrait, is like it's the pressure of making it look like somebody.
Yeah.
And I think you need to sit with somebody. I don't even mean physically, but you need to draw somebody over and over.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've drawn the same person or even the same image, like if I'm working up from a photo and it looks completely different.
Yeah.
I think we had a portrait class where I was painting with a limited portrait, like a palette, and I had 3 different paintings and each one looked like a totally different person, and that's okay. It's understanding like just the sort of structure of the face and trying to figure out how to represent that as a visual image, and having tools like pencils and different kind of extensions of your body and like having the different colors and all of it is just different kind of tools to help you achieve. I always look at it like practice. Even if I'm doing a finished piece, it's always feeling like practice to me.
I have a note on my studio door at home, and it says adversity is part of the process. So when I walk in the door, I know that that's just part of things, and I accept that. I also have this kind of concept of non-attachment to the results, which is kind of good for just everything in life.
Yes.
But I really try to be like, it's almost like that goofy bumper sticker that you sometimes see on cars where like a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work or whatever, something like that, something corny. And I kind of figure like in my studio, you know, I'm less attached to the results. So when things don't go my way, which they often don't, I don't walk out of there feeling really bad about myself, which is easy to get into a self-loathing phase and be like, "Oh, you're awful at this."
Didn't do it.
I didn't. Yeah.
Like I wanted to, and I didn't do a good drawing, and today was awful. Yeah, no, we all get in one of those.
So now, when I have something like this, I've also kind of marked out some shadow shapes. So here, I notice like I can fill in a little bit, and I notice this is all roughly in shadow except on his eyelid there, his upper eyelid there, and I can accentuate that a little bit more, and we get sort of like a notch above his nose where this other,
the shadow,
it's all in shadow here. I can even begin to
like
kind of,
his brow ridge comes forward a little more.
Yeah, and I can take this all the way down. And when you're working in just with a black right here, just monochrome. One of the things I would always tell people is ask themselves, what is your darkest dark and what is your lightest light? Because you might be able to look at the shadow under the nose and go, wow, that's very, very dark, but not compared to what's going on down here.
Yeah.
So I can pull all that in, and if I start to do things, it's like that trois crayon with the carbon, with the white, and the sanguine, where I can then come in here and I might say, okay, he's kind of very cool, this light, right? It's not very strong. So let me take a little bit of this color and I can begin to work it over top of what's going on here, and I can be really loose with it.
Yeah.
And I might say, you know, what I want to do is maybe warm that up a bit. So let's bring a little bit of some red into that. And I can, and with that black and with that
kind
red.
of tones it down a bit.
Just knocks it back.
But still warms it up.
Still
like
warms it up.
The rosiness of the cheeks.
And I'm always somebody too, when I get to places like the nose, I really warm them up quite a bit, and then I knock them down. I always think it's easier to bring a color down than bring it up. So like I'll tend to oversaturate something and then knock it back a bit. But we can kind of...
I love oversaturating things.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of my art is very, very vibrant.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, same. I really like that, and for the first time since okay, here's something I also like, guys. When I'm drawing sometimes, and if I'm using just something like the carbon black, I might come back. This was a popular thing we would do with sanguine when I was in graduate school at the New York Academy of Art, but we could do it with something really, really bright like this pastel pencil. If I've drawn this and I don't quite feel like the form is quite right, this is a nice way to really kind of have marks pop out a little bit more and say like, here's what's happening with this ear.
You go back over your drawing with a different color.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And then I can kind of even just pull that in, because if we look at that, this is really dark against a lighter ground around here. And I'm just going to take this white right here, and over here, look at against the gray ground, just how beautiful that is. And that again is forming our edges, but I'm going to take it right into here. I'm going to lose that edge. When I squint my eyes here, I know there is an edge between here and here. Those colors and those tones are different, but if I squint my eyes, they get a little bit more blurred, and I'm just going to do that, and I'm just going to bring that down a little bit, and I'm going to come back with this and then heat that up just a little bit because the white's very cool. And I can bring that up. And if I do something like that and I get a little darker with that, I do know that I want it to be lighter. But just for a moment, let's just imagine I can go back and forth, and you can get highlights to kind of pop out. This is a really oversaturated image here, where it's very, very polar. The contrast is high.
So high.
Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. The contrast is really high.
I struggle with words all the time.
Yeah.
Everyone watching knows.
But like, look at just you don't really see a highlight that high there or necessarily here, but I'm gonna pull it up, and
because you know the light is coming from this direction, so that would be kind of the areas that it would get hit with a highlight if that light was toned down a bit. Yeah,
and if you wanted to, let's just say we want to, I'm gonna I know this is a gray back here, but I'm gonna take this beautiful sort of earthy. It's almost like a terra vert. If we were, I'm gonna break that, and I'm just gonna kind of
like a mossy green.
Yeah, and that's gonna be like higher contrast against this gray page here.
Yeah.
But I can bring it in here. I can always change that, and I'm just thinking about that. And I'm thinking about, I think he had some sort of painting rack back there or something. It doesn't even matter, right? Because it's like, what difference does it make? These are all just abstract shapes against here. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter.
You're just using the whole edge of that.
Just using the whole edge of it.
Just
and again, however I do that, if I put it on its edge, I can get, that's a really nice way to get a really straight line. And the other thing I would think about, because I know we're running out of time here, is when you're drawing, whether it's any of these drawing materials, I think it's important for you all to think about variety of line. Because people start drawing sometimes, but they just think, oh, it's a mark. I put a mark down and I do this, and yeah, sure, maybe I do shading and all that kind of stuff. But really, when you're drawing, you think about, and we'll get the black pastel pencil out again. We think about it this way, and we say, well, am I drawing a thick line, or am I drawing a thin line? And consequently, am I drawing a dark line, or a light line? Am I drawing a continuous line, or am I drawing a broken line? I like broken lines. You know where I like to do those, guys? If I'm doing like a street scene.
Okay.
And there's a, I might be able to show you here in our last minute, because I'll pull out my trusty sketchbook here.
I just see an insight to Jimmy's art travel kit here.
Now, I wouldn't suggest the pastel or pastel pencils in a sketchbook, just because they smear easily, unless you put a fixative on it. But we might be able to see here, I hope I can find what I was thinking in my mind. Maybe
As he flips through all of these gorgeous, incredible paintings, just so
I was looking for a little
casually
street scene. And these are both street scenes here.
so fun.
Yeah, this was a little Vespa in Italy, in the town of Ischia, going through here. But let's just say, for instance, I don't have it in here, but I'm going to do it anyway. Let's just say there was a, because I was thinking I had a drawing where there was a like a, not a high tension line, but a like
a power line.
Power line.
Yeah,
Thank you. Power line is the word. And you know, you don't want to make that a dark, heavy line.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a lay, and maybe it skips there where the light hits it in the middle. So it's just this very delicate. Yeah, you can. Right. You barely get that. It's just this delicate little thing that's there.
There we go.
So you can think about that variety of these marks. And I think the key thing with all this, with all these Conté products, whether it's the trois couleur and the gray and the in there as well, and the bistre, the brown, all of those can be used with the pastel pencils. All those can be used with the colored carrés as well. You can have a little bit more control with the pencils. Maybe I only say a little less control with that. You can have a massive amount of control with that. Again, what I just did here, I think it's just, you need to get used to it a little bit.
Yeah. You have a question?
Yeah.
You spoke about fixative. Do you have one you would recommend?
Well, there's a number of them that you can use, and they'll all work fine. Conté à Paris is our sister company to Winsor and Newton, who I work for. So often I say that, but there's a number of they'll all work for this purpose. The only thing I think about stuff like this in a sketchbook too is, you're probably not going to carry around a can of fixative with you. So in a sketchbook,
what I do is I carry around glassine. I cut pages of glassine. Either if it's like a sketchbook that's like this size, I'll have like a stack of glassine in like the little envelope that's in the back, or I'll have them just like in somewhere tucked in, and I'll pull them out and like tuck them in between the pages as I need them. Because I use a variety of materials in my sketchbook, so like it could be pastels, it could be an oil pastel where like, you know, it has that smudgy quality.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know this. Glassine, is it the same as wax paper? Because I know it's got a feel.
It's similar, but it doesn't have the wax on it.
Doesn't, okay, that's it.
It is also archival, as like there's no acidity to it. So like if you put it in your sketchbook, you're not going to introduce anything bad into it. And I know we do have the glassine inserts that we use for the painter's color diary. They're like the replacement pages, and I actually take those and cut them down to whatever size that I need. Because they come in 9x12. So like, I mean, I don't usually carry on a sketchbook any bigger than that. That's a lot for me.
This is my size.
I usually go about like one of the little 5x5. So if I want a 5x5, I just cut down a bunch of those sheets and just tuck them in and then pull them out as I need to. Which is very easy.
Parting shot, because I know we're done with the clock here. We could do this for 3 hours and we could talk drawing. And there's so much more to say. But the thing I would tell you is, do a lot. I think it's from the book Hawthorne on Painting that they say behind every great artist is, and I forget if it's miles and miles of canvas or paper, but you need to make a lot of starts.
Draw.
Yeah, you need to do it a lot.
And this is honestly using these materials and drawing, especially from life and practicing, even if you are working from photos, draw an apple that's on your table, whatever you may be drawing. The more you draw, the better your practice is going to get, the better your observation skills, and the better your painting skills eventually will be. It all goes hand in hand.
And I think your point about painting, to just saying painting, I'm sorry, this will be my last thing, I promise, is that a lot of times with different painting media, there's a lot of different rules and things you have to think about. Super friendly. Oh yeah. You don't have to think about, can I do that?
Dark to light, light to dark. No, you can just jump around however which way you want to. which is amazing. Especially when you work with a toned paper. You can start with your lights and go dark, and then
Totally
start with the
different.
darks and go light. It's super beginner friendly, and all of these materials are so fun.
Yeah.
And super easy for anybody, especially beginners, to jump into.
Yeah.
So that was the show.
Cool.
Thank you so much for being on here and
Yep.
showing us all these wonderful things and just
Yeah.
breaking out these drawings.
Love doing it.
Like it was nothing. I don't even know if I could do this on camera. Oh my gosh. It's very enjoyable to have you on the show and watch you work. It's super cool and a little intimidating. And
Nah, super
and
no. No,
I
yeah.
want to go home and draw now.
Yeah. No, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Everybody, please give Jimmy a big thumbs up and hit the like button and all the different things on all the different apps to show your appreciation for having him on the show. We very much love having you here and talking about all the amazing art things that we just went over. Of course, if you guys are watching this in the future and have questions for Jimmy, always put them in as a comment, no matter which platform you're on. We will always make sure to get it back to you and get you guys an answer. But it's been a pleasure to go over all these amazing Conté materials. And so don't forget, though, to join us next week. I won't be on. Michaela will be back, and she'll be going over making zines, magazines.
Oh, that's super
I
cool.
am
My
so
daughter's so
excited.
into that. I gotta tell her. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So she'll be watching.
Yeah.
But she'll be making zines, and they're
Cool.
specifically going to be about brushes. So all kinds of fun brush knowledge as well. So it's going to be like
Good
a
subject.
little 2-for-1.
Yeah.
But that was the show. Are you officially ready?
You told me I had to be, so yes.
I mean, you don't have to.
No,
You can just walk
no,
off.
I'm here. I'm with you.
Okay. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week. Bye!